Large gathering of black venture capitalists and investors met at the 8th annual Culture Shifting Weekend in New York City, and our cameras were there. Here's a look at some of the highlights. You want to see this.
This is a very accomplished and established room full of people. These are people who are at the top of their field. Not all of the talent is going to be on stage, and it's important to know that people came a long way who are luminaries and are not even going to be on stage. This isn't about speaking, it's about being in the room, it's about connecting. This is about establishing a community, an ecosystem. It's about us getting together and trying to make things happen. This whole process is about creating a rising tide that lifts more boats. We can continue to act by the exception, or we can start to create new rules. That's the mindset.
In putting this event together, I began with a blank piece of paper, and I started not only to curate the guest list with a lot of intention, but also put together the list of Black VCs. And when I asked many of you how many you thought there were, it was hovered around 30 or 40. Right now, there's a list of 100 Black VCs. And I'm expecting to add about 50 more to that because I get emails literally every day. Did you know this person? Do you know that person? And it's a mix. People that have their own firms and people that work for firms. Nonetheless, as Denmark points out, they're all very important because oftentimes you'll leave a firm and start your own. That 100 number, I think, is very exciting and very illuminating. And Richard Kirby, who's here in the room. Richard, where are you? If you could raise your hand. So Richard has done some amazing research as well that I think really frames the problem, but more important, the opportunity. And so please connect with him to make sure that you get access to that research. And one last thing, many of you have opened doors to others who should be here and are here, and you actually had every reason to keep those funding contacts to yourself. If you're operating with a scarcity mindset, you will keep that to yourself. But you said, I want to introduce you to people that are funding, that I'm encouraging to funding. They have large pools of money. They funded somebody else. They want to get to know this space. And you didn't keep it to yourself. And I can't tell you how much that means to me and how much that means to the ecosystem. So you operating with a mindset of abundance, that you feel that there's enough to go around is just absolutely brilliant. So thank you.
Why did you want to do this?
I chose to get into venture capital because I was exposed to it while I was a grad student at the University of California, Berkeley, getting my MBA. And I was really taken by the presence the VCs had and the fact that they were working with really special people, building really special companies. I got infected, and the next thing I knew, every VC that came into our classes, I was asking, how do I become like you?
My name is Eric Moore. I'm the founder of Base Ventures, and I am a VC.
My favorite movies is Hoodlum. And there's a line, when you don't know, you don't know. And when it comes to this event, when it comes to what this is about, this is what I tell folks. We simply have not been exposed to this level of conversation, and we just don't know.
I've been in the venture space for a very long time. And so I've known all along that it was sparse. When I saw a big jump, a big take-up recently in Black folks in this space, and it's great because what happens is everybody knows about the billion-dollar companies. Everybody knows about Facebook and Twitter and Google. What people don't know about is that there are companies being sold for 100 million, 60 million, 80 million, and people are participating, people are getting rich, and guess who's not involved? Right, so to see this and have this happen it warms my heart, and fortunately for us, this business is not competitive at this level. It's collaborative. So you're seeing Black folks, Black men and women, come together, share resources, and talk about deals and whatnot, and make stuff happen. So it's fantastic and it's great.
When you walk into this room, then you see what the room looks like compared to most other rooms you might be in.
Right.
What goes through your mind?
It makes me feel so good inside. So I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've started several companies, and the last company I launched in 2011, I launched at TechCrunch, which is a big Silicon Valley conference with about 2,000 people. And I remember thinking then, why don't I see any African American people? Why don't I see any women in the room? And it was so disheartening, and that is the norm for where I hang out usually. So when I come into rooms like this, when I see investors and entrepreneurs and they look like me, it makes me feel good.
Most of tech, which is a small piece of most of America, doesn't recognize that there are lots of black investors, venture capitalists, private equity investors, folks who build their own firms, run their own firms, and are great investors, including people in that community. And so this room is filled with great investors, proven, up-and-coming investors trying to prove themselves, all of whom have that fact in common. They are part of a community that doesn't know each other exists and doesn't know, hasn't done a good job or have yet to really do a great job of broadcasting that.
What was required of you to play the game of basketball, you have to, in essence, apply that same sort of discipline to this space because it's different.
Definitely, and what I'm learning now is it's the same type of discipline associated with what helped me achieve my goal of playing basketball as a career, and that's just the overall work ethic of it, and just to learn from the greats and try and take things that I can use on my journey that fit into the focus of the scheme of venture capital.
Let me show y'all the basis of my tech. I still have a flip phone, and I'm gonna tell you what, and the reason why I also have a smartphone, by the way. But I still have my flip phone because it simplifies my life. It slows me down. We get so consumed in there. As I was walking in, I see a young lady over there, her head is down. She ruins our posture. Her head is constantly in our phones and everything. It's just this. Make a phone call, text, hey, call me. Yeah, keep it simple. K-I-S-S, keep it simple. Yeah. So yes. A buddy of mine called me up a couple years ago and he said, look, this guy's a techie guy. And he reached out to me with his own, he said, man, he's like the ultimate problem solver. A guy named Freddie Seeley, little teeny dude, got this Napoleon complex. And he's the ultimate problem solver, and he called me up, he's like, hey man, got this great idea, I'm gonna move to Shenzhen, China, and I'm going to build the world's strongest lithium battery charger. He said, when I come back, I want you to be a part of it. I said, cool, no problem. So he comes back a couple years later, bam, he puts his battery in my face, like, hey man, let's just take this to a new level, So we started the process, he went over there, him and his partner, Johnny Bosch, designed this battery. And it's right here on the table. Let me grab it real quick. Yeah. So it's the world's strongest, and I spoke to some of you about it earlier, about it. The world's strongest lithium battery charger. It's called Chargello. And it takes about 2.5 hours to charge in a docking station. Well, fully charged, it can charge 6 phones up from 0 to 100 before you have to put it back on the docking station. Portable, very lightweight. The beauty of it is that everybody looks at us as a charging company, but it's not. We're not a charging company. We're a service provider. So what we do is we lease these out, lease the batteries out. They come 10 in a station, 10 in a station. By the way, I know you all see 44 on here, Polish 44. I actually gave President Obama a whole station, so he uses them in his office. And then about a month later, his office manager called me up and said, hey, some of the staff has seen the president using these batteries. Can you send over another station for the actual staff to use? So it's very convenient. You don't have to be tethered to a wall outlet. The beauty of it is that you can advertise on it as well. So we generate a lot of revenue just through advertising on the actual battery, but it's the same material that's used in Tesla, the cars, and I'm excited about it.
One thing that has shocked you the most just being in these conversations, in these spaces?
Basketball is temporary. At some point, the ball's gonna stop bouncing, and you think athletes make, generous income for themselves throughout their career. A lot of different athletes, you know, and they're looking, many of them are looking into transition into life after the game, you know, and when you think about VCs and when you think about, you know, the tech industry is advancing tremendously, you know, so it's great to explore those opportunities to see how their investments can have an immediate impact on our society, you know, through the tech industry.
There's somebody out there who would love to do what you do. What do you tell that high school student, that college student, what they need to be focused on right now?
I think there's two things that generally come to mind. The first is that you have to have confidence in yourself, that you have to follow your passion. If there's something that drives you, don't think about the money. Think about what it is that drives you, and if impact is what you want to do, follow it. There's no set path to any career. This particular job I created, and I think it's the same thing you can do at any point in time, regardless. It's a matter of following your passion, following what makes you, you.
What should this room look like a year from now and 5 years from now?
I think a year from now, I think the room may look similar in just even more diverse. I think the definition of brown is broad, and if you look at the demographics in our country, the room will look more like those demographics that are changing. I think 10 years from now, the room should be an auditorium or a convention center or a stadium, because I think that if we do this the right way, that we will grow the pie of opportunity in the space, and we'll see more folks, you know, more folks that sort of look like the country leading in this world, in this space, you know, leading in the tech community.
Weekdays on TV One.
I will never lie to you.
Oh my God.
Roland Martin.
He doesn't want to talk to us. He wants to ignore us.
Uncensored.
Hell no. That ain't gonna cut it, boo.
Unapologetic.
No, that is fundamentally false. You are wrong.
Unfiltered.
He wants an America where we all look alike. He ain't talking about black people.
Unrelenting.
You better go work out, because you got a fight on your hands.
NewsOne Now with Roland Martin. Weekdays at 7 a.m. on TV One.